Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's webinar hosted by the City of San Jose's Office of Economic Development. I'm delighted that we're able to provide everyone who's joining us today the latest news on business loans and grants. And we have a panel of speakers that I will introduce to you as attendees here on this webinar shortly. And I'm very pleased to say that we also have the opportunity for you as the participant here to be able to select a particular room, and I'll explain how to do that if you would prefer to receive this presentation and webinar in a language other than English. And I'll go into the detail of that in a moment, but welcome and let's get going. So I'm pleased today to introduce myself, Vic Farley, with my colleagues Blage Zelalic, Sara Alvarez, Joe Hedges and Melina Iglesias from the Office of Economic Development, who will be here to support. And in particular, our special guests, Dennis King and Ali Lopez from the Small Business Development Center here in Silicon Valley, Maria Pineda from the Federal Small Business Administration, and Bianca Blomqvist from the Small Business Majority. Welcome to you all, and thank you for coming along today to present. These will be our guests, and we anticipate that each presentation will take between 10 and 15 minutes. So we assume that the presentation phase will be between 40 and 45 minutes, and that allows us sufficient time, another 45 minutes, for anyone to ask a question in the chat Q&A. And please feel free to do so during the presentations, because what makes the webinar go more efficiently and well for any participant is to be able to receive an answer to a question and not have to wait that length of time, that 30 to 40 minutes. And we as panel members will do our best to try and answer every question we can. But where we can't, we'll be very direct with you and say we will follow up within a particular piece of information or make a referral to an organization that may be better placed to answer your question. But be assured, if you've answered a question, asked a question, we will do our very best to answer it directly for you. Thank you. So an important item just to note is that while every effort is made by the City of San Jose and our partners and interpreters to provide correct information, none of these parties can accept any liability for misinterpretation, incomplete, old or inaccurate information. All information today is presented in good faith. And always, if you are uncertain or unsure, always seek out a financial legal advisor on specific questions or issues directly to you. The City, on behalf of all our partners, takes particular care to ensure that you have the best information available to you, but always check and verify. Thank you. Now, moving on to the language that you as a participant would prefer to receive this information. We have three options for you today. You can listen, well, actually four, including English. You can listen to this presentation in Spanish, Vietnamese, and Mandarin. And to do that, all you have to do is select the interpretation icon here on your screen using the globe, and your tool menu or audio setting will then check the language of your preference. So I'm going to just pause for a few moments to allow you, if you want to move into one of these three rooms, Spanish, Vietnamese, or Mandarin, or stay in this this forum for English, to do so. I won't rush ahead. You don't need to take notes because all of the recording today will be made available and posted on a YouTube channel. And all of the slides that each of our panelists and guests today will be presenting to you will be available as a public copy. So everything that you see, you hear, and you are presented with today will become a record. Now, we try and ensure that all of this is available within 48 hours, but sometimes it can take a little longer, but we do post everything that we have, because many people like to go back and look at a particular slide or a piece of information or an answer to a question to check that. And we're very happy to receive any follow-up questions. Thank you. So just to run through this, enter your questions, please, in the Q&A chat tool. We'll post links if there's other documents that we think you need to see within the chat. We'll also ask you at the end to complete a webinar survey. It's very helpful to us to understand your reaction to the information you've received and how we can improve what we do. And also I'll let you know more towards the end what our next webinar is on September the 2nd. Thank you. So let me first of all introduce our first speaker, Maria Pineda from the Small Business Administration. Maria will be providing us with an overview of the latest news from the SBA at a federal level. And I'm very welcome to introduce her here today to San Jose. Welcome, Maria, and I will now stop my screen sharing and give you control. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vic. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So as Vic mentioned, I will be discussing federal loans for small businesses over at the Small Business Administration, as well as some COVID-related loans as well. And as Vic mentioned, we're open to questions, and I'll be happy to answer those throughout the webinar, okay? Let me go ahead and share my screen. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, okay, wonderful, thank you. Okay, one moment, please. Okay, well, thanks again. So let's get started. One moment. Okay, so just some general talking points about the SBA. So as you can see on this first slide, we've been around for a while, created back in 1953. And again, I won't read everything verbatim. You'll have access to these slides, as Vic mentioned later, but that these are the bigger points here. So working with the SBA, our small business owners and entrepreneurs are empowered to succeed with access to capital, valuable resources, business know-how, and the right expertise for each stage of the business life cycle. So today we'll specifically focus on these bullet point here, and these are different loans that we'll review briefly. Okay, so our loan programs are designed with the unique needs of our small businesses in mind. So SBA loans offer longer repayment terms, lower down payments, and there's no prepayment penalties after year 3 of loan disbursement. So our SBA offers loan guarantees, and these guarantees make it easier and possible for small businesses to access the capital they need to either start, grow, or expand their businesses. So basically this guarantee in effect allows the SBA to reduce risk for a lender. So it makes it easier for them to approve financing for small businesses, which are at times considered a little more risky. Okay, so the first loan that we're overviewing is our guaranteed loan 7A, and this is the SBA's most common or flagship loan program. So most of these terms for 7A loans are repaid with monthly payments of principal and interest. These loans are fully amortized, so there's no balloon or surprise payment at the end. We do offer fixed rate options. However, right now, the majority of loans originated under this portfolio are variable rate loans because the rates are actually quite low. So the variable rate is tied to prime, which is currently 3 1/4. So right now for loans originating over $50,000, the rate is right now at about 6%. And again, this is for the variable rate. There's no prepayment penalty after year 3 of loan disbursement. And the maturity times are pretty comfortable, with up to 25 years for purchase of commercial real estate and 10 years for working capital, equipment, or inventory. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, that's the direct equivalent find out, further information about this loan. Okay. Our next loan is the 504 loan. And these loans are originated through our Certified Development Companies, or CDCs. Unlike the 7A loan, which is originated by commercial lenders, a CDC is a nonprofit, which is an organization that's set up to contribute to the economic development of its community. So CDCs are certified and regulated by us at the SBA, and they work with us as well as private sector lenders to provide growing businesses with long-term fixed rate financing for the purchase of major fixed assets such as land, buildings, machinery, and equipment. This product is, we only offer a fixed rate, there's no variable. However, the fixed rate is quite low. It's pegged to the 5 and 10-year treasury rate, and those rates right now are currently under 3%. And as the slide here indicates, that's, it shows you also the use of proceeds, and it's the majority it's also considered the real estate loan, but it's also to purchase machinery and equipment, long-term fixed assets. So the next loan we are reviewing is our microloan portfolio. So as the name implies, these are smaller size loans up to $50,000, and these are actually provided through mission-based lenders and nonprofits. So our average microloan amount is about $13,000, and the SBA provides funding for microloans to our specially designated intermediary lenders. And these lenders are nonprofit community-based organizations with experience in lending, as well as management and technical assistance. The interest rates vary depending on the intermediary you choose, and they vary between 8 and 13%. And really, when you compare these to credit card financing that sometimes our small businesses use to start up the business, these rates are actually quite competitive. So it is a good, a good offer for for folks that are at a startup or pre-startup stage and need access to capital. Okay, so moving on to international trade. So the SBA does have an Office of International Trade, and when I was doing some of the research here, I found these statistics to be quite eye-opening when you realize that nearly 96% of consumers live outside the US, and 2/3 of the world's purchasing power is in foreign countries. There really is a world of opportunity for small businesses and entrepreneurs that are interested in exporting their products and services. So likewise, you have to be a small business located in the US, but we're able to help if you want to export your goods or services abroad. We do have an office that has counselors that specialize in international trade. There's clearly a lot of opportunity out there. Okay, so for those small business owners, entrepreneurs that are looking for financing and access to SBA capital, we have an online portal at our website at sba.gov, G-O-V like government. And so Lender Match is basically an online portal that helps our customers connect with SBA approved lenders. So what the small business owner needs to do is just input your full address with your zip code, and the portal will provide local SBA participating lenders that originate our loans. Okay. So moving to, with our other programs, loan programs, we have also disaster loans at SBA. And unlike the previous loans, in this case, you don't go through a commercial lender, you apply directly via sba.gov. So right now, for example, this county of Santa Clara is under a drought disaster incident as declared by the Secretary of Agriculture. So if your small business is impacted, or you are a home owner that's impacted by one of these disasters, we do have a portal where you can check to see if your business address falls under that county. And again, our website online can allow you to begin the application process. The next web page or slide actually shows you at the bottom the direct link to the disaster declarations, either presidential or Secretary of Agriculture, and see if your business is impacted by its address. And so the disaster loan is also low interest. As you can see, it's rates right now are under 3% or under 4%. It's a fixed rate product, and loans may cover the following areas, as you can see on the slide. Okay, and a final loan we'll be reviewing, everyone, is also a disaster loan, but this is specifically economic injury disaster due to COVID. So the COVID EIDL program is a federal small business loan program designed to support small businesses to recover from COVID-19 economic recession by providing quick borrower-friendly capital. And by borrower-friendly capital, what we mean is, again, it's flexible payments over 30 years at a lower interest rate, again, under 4% fixed. And one of the criteria, I mean, there's a couple criteria, but one of the biggest one, or the business owner has to confirm, is that the business, they have to show evidence that the business was was a functioning business, or the business owner was invested in launching the business by January 2020. And that date basically coincides when the World Health Organization determined COVID outbreak constituting a public health emergency of international concern. So in fact, the business was established or in the process of being established by that date, and it was impacted, unfortunately, by the COVID pandemic. And so that's one of the things the loan officer will look at. And another piece of information is this program sunsets December 31st. So we still have money available. So again, if you are interested in applying for COVID EIDL, I suggest you do this sooner rather than later. And again, you go directly through our portal, directly at our website at sba.gov. And that's one of our last remaining COVID-related programs we still have available. And I think that kind of wraps it up right now for our loan programs, Vic. So I'll turn it back to you, and I'll answer questions throughout the other presentations as they come in for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. That was fantastic. And I have always been recommending businesses to check out LenderMatch as a tool. It's a great way to find out efficiently how you can understand what options are in front of you and where local lenders are based. Thank you for that, and we'll come back to you. And now I'm going to hand over to Bianca Blomqvist of Small Business Majority, give her a moment to get organized and ready. And then Bianca is going to give us an overview of where we are with loans, grants, and other important policies that are coming from a California statewide basis. Bianca, hello and welcome.
Hi, Vic. Thank you, Vic. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to share with folks on these events, what's going on in the state, throughout the state, for small business owners, particularly micro businesses, very small businesses across the state, but also here in San Jose. I'm going to share my screen. I should have it all ready to go. Can you give me a thumbs up if you see it? Okay, great. So I'll jump right in, since I have a few minutes to share about this, and I want to make sure that I answer folks' questions. A little bit about my organization, Small Business Majority. We're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 organization. We engage in third-party independent polling and research of small business owners' sentiments statewide, but also nationally. We are a national nonprofit. But largely, and the bread and butter of our work is educational events just like these. We educate directly small business owners and partners on the options that are available to them. distilling a lot of the federal guidance as quickly as possible and making sure that small business owners have, quick access to all of the changes that are coming down the pike. As many of the small business owners that are on this webinar have already experienced, these changes happen very quickly. And so it's important that we do our best to make sure that you have all the information you need to get your applications in, and get your applications into the right places as well. We educate small business owners on predatory lending. There are a number of unscrupulous actors that are operating in full force right now. So it's very important that you as a small business owner are aware that there are affordable options. And if you're in the Silicon Valley area, you have the support of the amazing Silicon Valley Small Business Development Center. As Maria outlined, the SBA office is ready to work with you, answer your questions. The city of San Jose, the county, and then the multitude of community organizations that operate in San Jose. So you have a lot of help available to you. And so we'd be happy to help you navigate. So let's just jump right into it. I will not be providing much of an update on federal policies, but I did want to let business owners know, especially as we prepare for a potential statewide vaccine mandate, that there are COVID-19 paid leave tax credits that are available to you and your business. If you have an employee that has taken time off to take care of themselves from COVID-19, or a loved one, or needed to take time off from work to go get vaccinated, or perhaps they weren't feeling too good the day that they got vaccinated, etc., there are paid leave tax credits that are available to eligible employers. These tax credits are available between April 1st, 2021 and September 30th, 2021. To learn more, you can go to irs.gov, or you can shoot me an email. I will be providing my email address at the end of this webinar. Included in the follow-up materials that Vic is going to be sending around is this slide for how to calculate the credit. I'm not going to dive into this here because we have Dennis King from Silicon Valley SBDC, and the business advisors at, as I said, the Silicon Valley SBDC are the experts. They're the folks that you can reach out to if you have really technical questions about some of these programs. What I will be spending the majority of the time today talking about is the California Comeback Plan, which is essentially what a part of the California budget was called. Specifically, the $100 billion that was passed as part of the California budget, including economic development provisions for small business owners. So in layman's terms, what does this mean? It means there is a lot of money coming down the pike for small businesses from the state government in the form of new programs, as well as renewing programs that already exist. So the first is the California Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. This is not a new program. This is the program that opened up in, I think it was on New Year's, and has had multiple rounds already. The Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program is the program that's been operated by an organization called Lendistry. This program has an additional $1.5 billion allocated to it. What this means is that if you have already applied for the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, no need to reapply. You simply need to wait, and your application will be considered, and you will find out through Lendistry whether or not your application has been selected to move forward. If you have not yet applied to the program, there will be one of the 3 new rounds that will be available and open to you to apply. So the $1.5 billion that passed through the budget to be put back into the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program will be distributed in 3 rounds. 2 of these 3 rounds are going to go towards applicants that are currently waitlisted. And as I said, the 3rd round, which is open in September, the 3rd round will be available to new applicants. So if you have already applied to the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program through Lendistry, work with your business advisor, your partner, work with Small Business Majority, whoever your community technical assistance provider is, to make sure that you have all of your documents uploaded. But other than that, there's nothing for you to do except wait to be selected. If you have not yet applied, I do encourage you to reach out to myself or any of the partners that are on this webinar to make sure that all of the documents that you need are completed and uploaded into the portal provided by Lendistry. So I mentioned there are 3 rounds. This round 7 so that's the first of the last 3, as I said, is open to those who've already applied. It looks just like the other rounds where eligible grant awards will be made between $5,000 and $25,000. That window ends on that window is August 3rd through September 16th. We have round 8, which is available for nonprofit cultural organizations only. If you're a small business owner, this does not apply to you. There's several million that has been allocated for these nonprofit institutions. And it works a little bit differently. If you are a nonprofit and you're participating, there are partners that can work with you to submit your application. Small Business Majority does not work directly with nonprofits. I'd be happy to help anyone, but there are other organizations that would be better equipped to help you. And round 9 is for new applicants as well as waitlisted applicants to be considered. So again, if you have not yet applied to the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, you will apply in round 9. That is Thursday, September 9th through Thursday, September 30th. If you've already applied to the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, you do not need to reapply. That's very important. You just wait, make sure that your documents are uploaded. You do not need to reapply, and your application will be considered and possibly selected in the last rounds of the grant. There is a new program. It's kind of a mouthful. It's called the Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. The Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program is significantly smaller in size, allocated through the budget for $50 million as opposed to the $4 billion that was allocated to the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. The Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, just like it sounds, is for really, really small businesses. In fact, this program started out as a street vendor grant program in Southern California and was expanded to include more micro businesses, as well as those businesses that were most likely to be left out of the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. So the Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program is not yet open. I don't know when it will open. I do encourage you to sign up for our newsletter because as soon as it does open, we will let you know. But there's some finagling, for lack of a better word, that needs to happen in the background before this program opens. It will be operated by the Office of Small Business Administration, but that will not be the organization that will be distributing the grants. We don't yet know which organizations will be distributing the grants. It will be either your county or a nonprofit within your county. So it depends on what county you're in. If you're in Santa Clara, it could be Santa Clara County, or it could be a group of nonprofits in Santa Clara that have been chosen to distribute the grants. If you have already received a Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, you are not eligible for the Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. If you have applied to the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, but you haven't yet received a grant, you may still apply to the Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program when it opens. It's not yet open, but the purpose of the Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant again, is to provide a grant program and relief options to those very small businesses that simply could not access the larger small business COVID-19 relief grant program. If you are a business that was excluded from participation in the small business COVID-19 relief grant program because of your industry, perhaps you engage in speculative businesses, or you have a cannabis company, you engage in lobbying, or you're a venture capital firm, unfortunately, you are also excluded from the microbusiness COVID-19 relief grant program. The microbusiness COVID-19 relief grant program is available to those businesses that have fewer than 5 full-time employees and had fewer than 5 full-time employees in 2019 and 2020. You must have been in business prior to December 31st, 2019. So this program, like the small business COVID-19 relief grant program, is not for new businesses. You also must have made less than $50,000 in revenue in 2019. Again, very small businesses here. This program will likely, again, it's not open, so we cannot say for sure, but this program will likely ask for less documentation than was required by the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, because again, remember, this is the program that was intended for street vendors, for those small businesses that are perhaps operating in a less formal economy, and more will come as soon as we, small business majority and our partners at the SBDC and the city, learn about these programs. We'll have all of this information out to you as soon as possible, but this is all that we know at this time. There are more programs that were passed in this part of the California budget, including the California Venues Grant Program. This is very different from Maria's program, the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, which, by the way, I think that program ends tomorrow for applications. The California Venues Grant Program is a statewide program that will be operated by the California Office of Small Business Administration. It will provide grants to those independent venues that perhaps they have live events, maybe they are concert halls or theaters or some kind of independent venue. Grants will be awarded in an amount to the lesser of $250K or 20% of gross earned revenue for the 2019 taxable year. This is much smaller than the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program at $150 million. So $150 million has been allocated for this. It will be dispersed in one or more rounds to those eligible venues, but we don't yet know what the priority factors will be. It's possible that priority factors will be similar to the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant, and that they will be targeted towards women-owned businesses, business owners of color, businesses for whom English is not their first language, but we don't yet know. So sign up for our newsletter. Make sure you're on the newsletter for the SBDC and your district SBA, because information will be coming down the pike as soon as we have it on the live venues grant. Additionally, the Main Street tax credit has been refunded. There is $147 million in tax credits available for small businesses who've hired workers since 2020. Last year, the program had certain parameters and certain dates. It's probable that that will be the case again. You can learn about how the program operated last year by going to cdtfa.ca.gov. That's a lot of words that should be spelled out here, but it's right at the bottom, cdtfa.ca.gov. Credits are essentially applied for sales and use tax liabilities for future reimbursement. And so again, that tax credit is available for those businesses who've hired new workers or hired workers simply since 2020. You can learn more by going to cdtfa.ca.gov. The California Competes tax credit has just closed. I forgot to update this little bullet here. The current window to apply closed on August 16th, but you can learn more about what the California Competes tax credit is by going to business.ca.gov. The other two tax credits that are available here are not yet open to my knowledge. The higher homeless tax credit, kind of like it sounds, provides tax credits to small businesses for those who hire eligible individuals for up to $10,000 per worker. The film tax credit provides $95 million to expand the California Film and Television Tax Credit Program. Unfortunately, what you see here on this page is what I have to give you. The higher homeless tax credit and the film tax credit are not yet open to my knowledge, but you can go ahead and jump on Google and type in California Film and Television Tax Credit Program, or go to our website at smallbusinessmajority.org to sign up for our newsletter to learn more. I'd also like to let you know that one of the ways that Small Business Majority operates in this space is we connect small business owners to state, local, and national media opportunities. It's very important that your voice as a small business is elevated, especially when there are many voices in Sacramento that purport to advocate for small businesses. We want to hear from you. If there is a potential statewide vaccine mandate, what does that mean for your business? How would that affect customers that come in? How would that affect the way that you manage your workers? How would your workers feel? How does that impact some of the shortages you might be experiencing in rehiring your workers? These are just some of the examples that we receive from reporters, and we would love to make sure that they can chat with you about your experiences to make sure that the policy solutions that we advance are relevant. This is my information. That's my email address. Thank you so much for allowing me to chat with you all, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thanks, Vic.
Thank you, Bianca. That was fantastic. What a great way to show us that there is more money coming from the CA Relief Fund grant, new initiatives coming down the line. And I'm always a big advocate for tax credits. It's free money, but you have to claim it. Thank you very much. That was great. At last, but by no means least, let me introduce Dennis King, Chief Executive of the Small Business Development Center here in Silicon Valley, to give us an update and a presentation on the latest news. Dennis, welcome. This screen is all yours.
Thank you, Vic. Until COVID, we haven't really heard the term free money in a very, very long time. And now it's a very interesting and quick moving topic. We had the honor last year, of course, of managing the City of San Jose Small Business Rent Relief Program, which was free money that was paid to the landlords on behalf of the small businesses. So that was a delightful and educational process. It was both heartwarming and sometimes heartbreaking, but that's the nature of what we do. With me today is Ali Lopez. Ali is the program manager for the SBDC program. SBDC, Small Business Development Center, is the largest federal program to help people start and grow and hopefully thrive with their businesses. Our focal point here is in Santa Clara County because our local funding partner to match SBA is the County of Santa Clara. So we learned a lot of lessons from the exercises under COVID. I was also delighted to hear Maria's presentation because the typical loan programs, and there are quite a number of them, are still in operation. In fact, there are a number of people who are saying that of all times, this is a good time for them to buy their building. And for that, the 7A and the 504 loans are great vehicles to be able to do that. And the sad news is that there's a lot of transition, but the good news is that there's a lot of transition. And so in that sense, it's a good opportunity for people to take a good assessment in terms of where they are and where they want to be. And an SBA-backed loan might be a very important bridge to be able to help people get to where they want to get. For us, what has been most interesting is, of course, working with the cities and with the county on their grant programs. The County of Santa Clara, if we can take it a bigger picture, the County of Santa Clara has been the main shield that the community has to deal with COVID and now COVID-19, as well as Delta. And it's certainly come up with a number of rules and regulations to help protect the community from the ramifications of those particular crises that are among us. Some of what they had done, of course, makes perfect sense to be able to take care of each other, to keep some distance from one another, and some basic protocols that we need to have as we interact. Some of the regulations were very difficult for us in terms of closing businesses, and some of the smallest businesses got shut, like the service industry. The nail salons, the hair salons were among the first to get closed and the last to open up again. And so they have been significantly hard pressed in terms of surviving and getting past where we are today. The county in its regulations is, again, our primary shield against COVID. And that means that they were pretty strict on a wide variety of regulations and have enforced it. And in many cases, some of the businesses that chose not to follow those regulations got fined. The vast bulk of people did follow the rules, but for those that didn't, they could have assessed really hefty fines. The county has assessed about $6 million of fines of businesses and organizations here in Santa Clara County. And they have decided that they don't want those funds to go into the general fund money. They don't want it to be part of the regular budget of the county. They thought that the best way to spend those funds is to immediately get it back out to the local small businesses in need, particularly those that have not only suffered, but are trying to do what they can to protect their employees, to protect their customers, and to protect the overall community. So they have a grant program that opened up 2 days ago, up to $5,000. I don't know, Vic, if you have the brochure that we sent over, if you can pull that up on the screen.
Give me one moment, Dennis, and I will put that on the screen for you.
Thank you. But it's essentially a reimbursement program, but in learning some lessons to facilitate matters, they're not asking for receipts. They're asking for good faith. And so there's a number of different areas where people can spend or promise to spend that will be up to $5,000 in grants. The program opened up, as I said, just the day before yesterday. And as of this morning, I know we have some 250 applicants already. So we are encouraging people to take a look at the situation and take advantage of that. Are you able to find that, Vic? Not yet. Well, let me explain at least some of that. So, and also with some of the programs, I want to thank Bianca for her great advocacy over the years and the great relationship that we have with her and her organization. Certainly, it's been very impactful. Our focus is in Santa Clara County. So even though it's part of the SBA as a program, we're here to serve the small businesses, small business owners here in Santa Clara County. Many of the grant programs, many of the loan programs that businesses are struggling with, they are really preoccupied with survival and day-to-day work. We can walk them through that step by step if that would be helpful to them. Typically, in any given year, we help about 400 businesses a year go through various loan programs or grant programs. In 2020, Ali and our business advisors walked some 2,700 businesses to get the funding that they needed to be able to continue their operations. Can we jump right directly to our program? I mentioned Kiva. Kiva is another loan program. It's an interest-free loan program. It's based on individuals living, offering small loans, and it's crowdfunded and interest-free. Right there, I think is fine, Dick. Thank you. So we offer that as well for those businesses that either didn't get a grant or that they realize that whatever grant they got is not enough and they're looking for additional resources. And it's not free money because it's a loan that does require paying back, but it's interest-free and no obligation if it's paid early. This particular flyer, if you can note, identifies some of the areas that the county is more than willing to reimburse. So if people are buying hand sanitizers, on the N95 mask, or other kinds of things, if they're looking at upgrades in terms of the air circulation, filtration within their business, if there are other things that they're doing to put shields up to protect their workers from the community, again, there's quite a gamut of possibilities that can be essentially reimbursed by this program. As I said, with this, I think there's directions here in terms of how to apply. It's very simple. is to go onto our website, the Silicon Valley SBDC website, and there'll be a series of questions that will facilitate you being able to get the information, including the application itself. It opened up a couple of days ago. The deadline to apply is on the 7th of September. What we expect would be shortly after that, as we've done with the cities before, would be to take a look and see who's applied and try to come up with a fair and transparent way to decide who would be able to get the grants. The way that we've done this before was because usually there's an oversupply of applicants than there are for funding. We usually try to do this on a transparent way with the lottery. This particular phase, which we've been calling phase 1, is for $500,000. And we're expecting that there'll be future phases after we learn from this particular program. And so we expect this to continue, and we expect, much like the state of California, that once you apply, we'll be able to continue to move this as we go through the various phases. As you can also see that our advisors handle a number of different languages, obviously besides English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Tagalog, Portuguese. Again, our business advisors, we have about 40 of them. Most of them are business owners themselves, and they really reflect the diversity of the community that we serve. So they have a passion for serving the community. They've got some very practical business experience, and a combination of their experience and their passion is the bridge to help you, the business owners, get access to the funding that you need or to take advantage of opportunities such as this. I think that's the basic picture. We want to keep it as simple as possible. The county has very few restrictions. They're basically want to make sure that the businesses that have complied with its rules, like for example, submitted the social distance protocols, certainly should be favored. For those that have not been fined because of COVID, are also eligible. If they have been fined, then this program is not for them. This program is also specifically for businesses, particularly small businesses, that have operated and intend to continue to operate here somewhere in the county of Santa Clara. So the basic spirit again is to connect the dots. If you've got any questions, certainly please reach out to us. Our SBDC number, I think we passed along the way, is 408-248-4800, or the number that you see here, 408-385-9800. Something that I was not going to mention, but among the things that we're trying, we're always looking for resources for the small businesses here in Santa Clara County. Tomorrow, we're trying a new program, and that we're working with the Office of Emergency Services to give away at least a month's supply for every employee for small businesses. And so we have a pilot project for the giveaway tomorrow morning, actually for most of tomorrow, at the Tropicana Shopping Center. If people would like to have free products, you can see the contact information is here. The request is to pre-register before the event. Tomorrow is kind of our pilot project. We want to see how responsive the community would be to have a need such as this. It's our intent that if it goes well, we'd certainly like to look for a number of different areas, particularly here in San Jose, where we can replicate that. So it's a combination of being able to give free product, and for those that are not getting free product, to be able to get it reimbursed from the counties from Santa Clara. So Vic, I thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts, and I certainly look forward to a discussion with anybody if they have an interest.
That's great, Dennis. Thank you very much. And it's really interesting to see the focus that the county and you are working with in relation to this new grant program. That's very interesting. And I'm sure business owners across the county and here in San Jose will be very interested to both understand and apply. That's very good. So we've now heard from all our three panelists, Maria from the SBA in relation to the federal programs, and there were some very important pieces of information in relation to these kind of loans that a business may need to expand, to buy assets, to look for property, the more long-term view. Also microloans for the smaller business that's looking to refinance and working capital. We heard from Bianca very important news in relation to the governor and California, and more money coming through the California Relief Grant, the dates for that, and that should open for new applications on September the 7th and close by September the 30th. And we have more programs as yet detailed to be defined that we will be bringing you when we know what the governor intends with those new funds. And of course, from Dennis, we have very important news in relation to what the county is seeking to achieve with the redisbursement of those funds monies that were generated through fines on COVID to support businesses, which I think is very important for businesses to understand and to get the opportunity to apply for. So 3 very different opportunities and presentations there in terms of financial information. And I'm grateful for the questions we received during the course of those presentations. And I can see that we've got in the Q&A. I'm going to look at the Q&A and just take them in turn and invite the panel members to comment as they see those questions. So the first one is from an attendee who said, I've received a 5,000 grant approved under the California Small Business Relief Program. Is there any new or additional grant program available? If yes, how to apply? Well, I guess you can't apply twice at the California level for a grant, but presumably, say, Dennis, you could apply for one of the county grants that you're now overseeing. Presumably, you're not excluded if you've had a California grant for applying for one of the county grants. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, that's very fair to say. We should also point out that, and it's hard to keep track, but a number of communities come up from time to time and offer their grant programs. As I mentioned, we managed 4 of them last year. We don't usually get a lot of advance notice when they happen. So your job, Vic, which you've done a tremendous job, is to help educate people about opportunities. And it's a bit awkward when those opportunities are so fleeting, but that's why it's so important to keep connected with people.
Got it. Thank you, Dennis. I think the key point here is that if you're a business owner that had one of these relief grants from the California Fund, you are able to apply subject to the criteria that Dennis was outlining for a county grant. So do follow the information that Dennis was outlining, the link and the importance of the SBDC website to keep informed. And Dennis has a team of expert advisors to help businesses. So if you need advice on a particular matter relating to your business, we've always recommended here within the city of San Jose to reach out to Dennis's organization and the other organizations who offer that free service to you. And Ali Lopez is with us, who Ali and I have worked very closely over the past 18 months to ensure that if you're a business owner that needs advice, we're able to make a referral. Ali, I kind of wanted to use that as an introduction to you and ask you how you saw the opportunities for business and getting in touch with SBDC if a business owner needs to ask questions.
Well, the quickest way obviously is the email or going to our website. But I think a lot of what we did last year, Vic, a lot of them already accessed the California Relief Grant because of all of the outreach that we did together. So hopefully this will expand and reach more people. And I think the county grant is really great because it doesn't look at a lot of the restrictions that the other funding did previously.
That's fine, Ali. I think you need to catch your breath. I think the key point here is I know when I recently did a report for the city on the number of California grants that came in, over 5,000 grants came into businesses located within the city of San Jose. And the total dollar value was around $58 million. That's how much the value of these applications were to businesses here in the city. And so with an equivalent sum of money, we are encouraging every business owner, if you've made an application and you haven't heard whether you've been successful or not, do not give up, because your application will be under consideration with these new rounds, as Bianca was explaining. If you're concerned about any of the detail perhaps you may think you didn't complete the application or there was a piece of information that was missing, I would encourage you to contact Lendistry. You can go directly to their website and you can see where the email address is to use if you are concerned about any aspect of that application, so that if you need to reapply, if in fact that application was not accepted, at least you know that in advance of September the 7th, because that's when the new round will be available for new applications. Up to that point, if you've applied previously, you're in the so-called wait list. We're asked about the free PP giveaway that's at the Tropicana Center tomorrow. We'll put the URL there. Rita's posed a different question to us. If I received the PPP fund in April of this year of $16,000, can I still apply for the small business grant program? And I would assume from that, that could be either at a California level or at a county level. I'll invite Bianca. Bianca, would you like to say something about eligibility if a business has had a PPP loan, whether they're entitled to apply for one of the California Relief Fund programs?
Yeah, happy to. The Paycheck Protection Program has no impact on a small business owner's eligibility, nor does it have any impact on a small business owner's application. It's not weighted in their application. So if you've received a PPP or an EIDL or a California Rebuilding Fund loan or an SBA loan, a 7A loan or a 504 loan or Community Advantage loan, please, I encourage you to continue to apply to the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program.
Got it. That's good news. Thank you. Dennis, anything you'd like to update, or can we assume that if you were a recipient of PPP, it's okay to apply for one of the new county grants?
So yes, Victor, it's also good to check out the other ones that come and go.
Yes.
Because they do have different rules and regulations, and it sort of depends on what they're going after. So for example, Bianca pointed out round 8 is really for cultural organizations. Round 9, which is exciting, is that it's open for new applicants,
Yes.
but its focus is small businesses. So you got to read the fine print, and there's lots of moving parts, but basically getting the grant in one place doesn't preclude you from other spots.
Very good. Thank you, Dennis. And I think the key thing in terms of a top tip to any business is check if you've applied previously for your California Relief Grant and you don't know the outcome before September the 7th. And if you're a business owner that has not applied before, get ready, look at the website and see what information is required and be ready to apply on September the 7th. That puts you in good stead because the administration of these funds does take time because so many people do apply, and you may need some advice in order to complete that application. And that's the reference really to Dennis and Ali and the people at SBDC, that if you check out that website before September the 7th and you're unsure of any of the detail, you have the time to contact them to find out and clarify any points, because we know from when business owners applied earlier in 2021, the site can be complicated if you're not used to that. And we do want to encourage people. There's also the opportunity, I noticed this week when I was looking at the site, that there are a number of training videos on how to apply in different languages. So if English is not your first language, I do encourage you to look at it and to download one of the videos in the language that you prefer and to become familiar with the detail. And that way you take the pressure off yourself when you get closer to that deadline and you want to make the application. And the city will be promoting this and will be encouraging businesses to contact Dennis and SBDC and other organizations, because we genuinely want to see the maximum number of businesses apply and receive a grant here in San Jose. Dennis, could you remind us, next question, what the name of the county grant is, please?
Well, the formal name is the County of Santa Clara's Small Business Grant Program for COVID-19 protective measures.
Okay. Does it have a short name, Dennis?
Yes, I just call it the Small Business Grant Relief or the grant program.
Got it. The Small Business Grant Program. I like that.
And the easiest way to get more information or to apply is just simply go on our website and you'll be
Right.
directed.
Right.
And there's no charge.
We got, sorry, Dennis.
I was going to say, you know, I forgot what I've been told that I need to say all the time. All of our services are free.
Yes.
We're not selling insurance. We're not selling houses. We're not selling anything. We're just here dedicated to help you be successful in business.
Thank you. We've got another question. I'm not sure we can answer it, but I think that it's about someone who received a grant but relates to the detail of their taxes and the information supplied. And my suggestion there was that that person who asked that question may want to contact Ali Lopez, because I think it could be that person may benefit from a more detailed conversation with one of Dennis's lead advisors, who is more familiar with the kind of the detail of the grant process, the application, the paperwork. Would that be okay with you, Ali?
That would be fine. I believe you posted my contact information on the chat.
Okay, thanks very much. So those are the questions in the Q&A. Let's quickly look at the chat and see what we have here. Important to note that the Paycheck Protection Program that was referred to by a number of us during the course of this webinar, of course, has closed. It's finished. But what is important with the Paycheck Protection Program is that if you were a recipient of that loan and you have used that money, that you apply for the loan forgiveness. And Maria at the Small Business Administration has been responsible within her organization for clarifying many of the rules and introducing a new online portal for PPP if your loan was under $150,000. And so it may be very helpful to you as a business owner if you're thinking about what you need to do to ensure your loan is forgiven, is to check in with that SBA website now, Google it, look at it, have a look at the information and see if you're eligible, because that is probably the most efficient and readily, easily way for you to complete the documentation to get that loan forgiven. And there are a lot of loans out there with businesses. There was something like 25,000 PPP loans that came into businesses in the city of San Jose alone. And that's very important, that we want to ensure that all of these businesses have the opportunity to have the maximum amount and preferably all of that loan forgiven along the way. I don't know, Dennis and Ali, have you been supporting businesses and assisting businesses or advising businesses on the issue of loan forgiveness lately?
Yes, we have quite a number actually.
And Maria very helpfully from the SBA has said, and here's the link. So you can see the link in the chat, that if you want to look at the forgiveness portal, which is open, you can click on that link there. Thank you, Maria.
Yeah, no problem. And that is a long link. So just go to the website. Our general website, everyone, is sba.gov, G-O-V like government. Literally on the search engine, just type in, PPP forgiveness, or it'll show you the different ways to request the forgiveness. There's a new portal for folks that have loans that are 150,000 and less, and their lender has opted in.
Yes.
And if there's any questions or confusion, go to their website, or you can certainly email me. I'm happy to respond to your specific concern.
A question, if I may ask you, Maria, I was asked by a colleague yesterday, and the question was, can a business who's received a PPP loan then apply for an EIDL loan? And I said, yes, I believe you can. Could you confirm that for us, Maria?
Let me double check on that, Vic. I apologize because so for folks, so for example, because PPP, the bulk of it was payroll, and I responded to somebody who had a good question. I believe Jesse was named. So obviously EIDL is more in depth in terms of other expenses that can be paid with the EIDL loan. But let me double check on that, and so if I respond to you, well, then you'll let your everybody know, or?
Of course, Maria, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
going to
no,
put.
that's okay.
I normally try and put Dennis and Ali on the spot, which so I.
Vic,
What do you
may I
think?
try to bail out Maria on that? Because where she is exactly right
Yeah.
is that the money can't go for more, you can't get compensated for the same thing. In other words,
Twice.
we
Yeah.
don't want double dipping. So if it can be, I mean, yes, legally you can apply for both, but what the money gets used for cannot get paid for more than once. So it needs to
Yes.
be separated.
Yes.
And then-
Right, so the idle loan is more expansive and allowing other business expenses such as like, your rent and your overhead and things like that. Let me double check to see what I find, and I apologize, everyone. I'm actually a little new to the agency myself. I started in April, so it's been a steep learning curve with a lot of the COVID programs and just our overall access to capital. So thanks for your patience.
No problem, Maria. I apologize. Bianca,
No,
would you,
it's okay.
is there anything you'd like to add to this point about what businesses may be eligible to apply for?
Yeah, of course. There's a number of business owners who've been successful in taking out a paycheck protection program loan and getting that forgiven, and then also taking out an idle loan. The key thing to remember for folks, like Dennis said, like Maria said, is the double dipping. The government doesn't like it when you take government subsidized funds and use it for the same thing more than once. So our top line kind of pieces of advice and best practices are to make sure that you're keeping accurate, detailed records of what you spend government subsidized dollars on. So you can demonstrate that 1 month perhaps you spent funds on payroll, and the next month you spent funds on working capital. And it's also important to remember that the idle loan, while it is subsidized, is still a loan. You have to pay that back. So it's a lot less strict on what you use the funds for. You can repair equipment with that kind of loan. The economic injury disaster loan program is pretty flexible on what you can use those funds for.
And folks, thank you, Bianca. She's exactly right, everyone. And I apologize, I did find the exact verbiage. We have a table. So basically a PPP or Paycheck Protection Program recipient, as it refers to COVID-19, they may apply for the economic injury disaster loan and Paycheck Protection Program, but they cannot be used for the same purpose or cost. So as Dennis and Bianca said, you can't double dip. And I'll send that matrix so everybody sees that as well.
That's great. Thank you very much. And I think what we have here is the fact that we all know the issue of accounting for the money. When we were originally promoting PPP last year, the question came up a lot, particularly from people who are self-employed. And we were very pleased by the number of people who are self-employed who applied for a PPP loan here in San Jose. The key point is to keep good records. Whether you do that through an Excel or an accounting software or paperwork, the key point is to maintain a good record of that money, how it was spent, because when it comes to having to complete the forms to get that loan forgiven, to demonstrate, as Dennis was saying, there wasn't a confusion about spending 2 different types of federal money or over the same period of time, it's very important. And the other thing that we've always been very keen to come back to the issue of tax credits that Bianca was referring to is, again, you have to show the dates. And so managing your dates within these financial quarters is a very important one if you're claiming the employee retention tax credit and you're using your PPP loan, because you can't use the two or claim the two for the same dates, as Dennis was saying, because from an IRS Treasury perspective, that's viewed as a kind of form of double dipping, that there's 2 types of benefit coming to that business on the same day. And that's why, from a city point of view, our top tip was always to try and get you to claim your PPP forgiveness within a financial quarter. Don't stretch over to the next financial quarter if you have a payroll, because that can affect your ability to claim a tax credit. And that's something that I have to repeat, because I know a lot of business owners, when they talk to their tax preparer or CPA or do those funds and forms themselves, need to keep on top of. I think, Dennis, you've given us a good insight into the fact it's sometimes grants come and go, don't they? You have to know dates and you have to follow the dates to make your application. Do you have a plan, or are you still considering a plan for the promotion of the county business grant program, or is there a place that we should advise businesses to go to know more?
So the best answer is that they can get information and apply on our website.
Mhm.
We we're already getting a much bigger response than what we intended. So we have not today. Our conversation is the first time we're being public about it.
Okay, very good.
And we already have over 250 applicants. So people are looking for opportunities. So
Yes.
I would certainly encourage people to respond sooner rather than later.
Got it. So I think the bottom line here is, don't wait. If you're a business owner, check out the SBDC website. Google, as Bianca wisely advised us on the issue, consider the criteria and follow up. And if you need advice and information, contact SBDC. But as Dennis was suggesting, it's busy now. And I think as the word gets out through this webinar and through other forms of communication and newspaper and online articles, I suspect, Dennis, you'll be very busy over the next few weeks in managing this process. So I wish you every success with that. And obviously we'd like 100% of the money coming to the city of San Jose, but in the absence of that fact, I hope businesses do take up the opportunity. I am going to put back on the screen our sort of concluding slides, and just to ask panel members in turn if they had any particular points that they wanted to make from what they've seen, what they've heard, and presentations. Maria, was there anything specifically you'd like to cover or remind us of that you believe would be of interest to our attendees today?
Yeah, sure. So I didn't go too much into detail about PPP forgiveness just because there's a lot of overwhelming information. So I just wanted to focus more on the lending. But you all certainly have, I'm answering some questions about some webinars and things like that I'll put some information. But if you have questions about that direct forgiveness portal for your PPP loan, or if you're having trouble engaging your lender, feel free to email me about your specific situation together with your application or loan number, and or if it's related to COVID EIDL. We've been sending out letters, oh, if something was denied because of unverifiable information, whatever that means. I have ways to kind of dig into the system and tell you exactly what it is you need to overcome that pushback. So feel free to email me. I'm happy to answer your specific question. Just tell me what the application number is, loan number, and I can dig in and give you the information so that you could, hopefully get your funds sooner rather than later. And nothing, I'm happy to help. Just email me. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Vic. I appreciate that.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, that's really helpful to make that offer known to business owners. I'm sure that's really very, very good. Thank you. Bianca, any thoughts, comments, and points you'd like to make?
No, for those business owners, well, yes, I do actually. Thank you. For those business owners that are participating, slightly different topic, but there are other programs that Small Business Majority and our partners that are participating on this panel can help you take a look at, that are also a big piece of running a business, especially in California. If you don't currently offer a workplace-based retirement program, there are options available to you that don't cost you as an employer anything. Cal Savers is one of these programs designed by the state to give retirement options to 7.5 million Californians that don't have access to a workplace-based retirement program. there are significant funding. There is significant funding from the American Rescue Plan to make folks' healthcare more affordable than ever. If you are participating on the private market, I encourage you to check Covered California subsidies to see if you can get the same coverage and receive those subsidies. Many business owners and their employees are currently paying as little as $1 for their healthcare plan. So I do encourage you to check out Covered California as well.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Bianca. And Dennis, last word to you, Dennis.
So I'm responding to a number of questions that people had. So I thank you for that. Some of them were asking some interesting and challenging questions where they think that they may not have the opportunity to actually get the grants. And what I strongly suggest is try. Don't give up. Don't give up. Your business, your life is too important. Don't give up. Please keep trying. And the bottom line, certainly from the discussions that you've heard from us, from the city of San Jose, certainly from you, Vic, is that guess what? We're on your side. We want you to be successful. You're a very important part of what our community is all about. The successful small businesses help really define what our community is. So we value you. We want you to be successful. We may not have all the answers, but working together, we'll find them.
That's great, Dennis. Thank you. I think, as you can sense from the way we as individual panel members, our organizations, I think the way we've come together over the last 18 months to showcase these opportunities is reflected in the number of loans and grants that have come through to businesses in San Jose, and you just have to keep going. And we're here. I just want to say thank you to all of our panel members, and I'd like to say thank you to all the participants and attendees today, and my colleagues who were organizing the different rooms for people to be able to listen in other languages of Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. There will be a survey we would like to send to you. I can see some raised hands going up, so I will come back to those in a moment. And we do have another webinar in 2 weeks on September the 2nd. It will be on a different theme to finance, and we encourage all businesses to tune in on our regular 2-weekly webinar program. Let me just see the raised hands. Okay. Some thank yous. Well, that's nice to report back to panel members. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time and information. Well, that's nice to hear. And as Dennis says, we're here to serve you. And it would be very helpful to us to complete the survey questionnaire. We do like to have some feedback on how we can do better and what we do. And that's great. I think we are essentially finished. I will just click on the last slide, which is our contact information. We've done that. Well, thank you for joining us is really the way to conclude. Maria, Bianca, Dennis, Ali, thank you very much indeed. Thank you to all the attendees. We've had a very good attendance. We had over 600 business owners register who will be sending out the information to when we go online. We've had over 100 business owners consistently follow us over the course of the last hour and 30 minutes. And I hope everyone has found this of value and of interest. And if you need any further information, please follow up, and the Office of Economic Development will be happy to refer you to the relevant organization, whether that's Dennis's SBDC and Ali, or Bianca Blomqvist at Small Business Majority, or Maria Pineda at the Small Business Administration. So I just want to say thank you once again, and goodbye, and good luck with all the grant and loan applications. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vic.
Pleasure.
Bye, Maria. Bye, Dennis.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Bianca.
Bye.